We are live.
We are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Dion's Daily Dose. So tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. I got my son Donovan here. We're going to talk to him. We started a conversation earlier, and he had some questions for me about the primary, about who I was running against, how it works, all of that stuff. Jack, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And how it works. He's like, are you running against this person or what? And we started to talk about it. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we do this tonight on the live? I was actually going to do something else, but I think this is better.
You got plenty of days ahead of you.
Right. Well, not that many days.
You said even if it doesn't turn out so well, you'll continue.
Yeah, even if I lose the primary, there have been a lot of people that have said they enjoy the show and they would like me to continue. So, obviously I don't want to lose the primary. I want to win, but anything can happen, right? You determine who's moving on. One of the things that we'll talk about. So your understanding of the way that it works, the first question that he had for me was, who are you running against? Right. And I started to explain it. We didn't get very far into it.
We really didn't.
Yeah, we just kind of started. So there are two parties, right, that are recognized as far as the election coming up, right? Yay. So Dave said, hello, Donovan. I spelled it right this time. You did.
Good on you.
So
the Republican and the Democrat.
Right.
And then there's Libertarian and, all.
Yeah, there's actually a massive list of other parties.
So many.
But the main two are indeed Republican and Democrat. Right. And there's some confusion, right, as to whether it's Democrat Party or Democratic Party. We won't get into all that. That's irrelevant.
Yeah.
You know who we're talking about.
It's the same thing. It's just what you call it.
Right. And you know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
So there are this primary, right, is the determination between who will represent each of their parties in November, because November is the big election, right? It's the huge one. It's for president, it's for congressman, it's for a bunch of stuff. Absolutely. So in my primary, right, we're not going to worry about the Democrats because that's the other party, right? They're going to have their own. They have their own. In Indiana, it's a little different, right? Some states you can go in and you can pick like multiple tickets and this and that. You can choose each, like you can pick you could pick a Republican for this position, a Democrat for this position. Indiana is like straight down the list for party, right? Yeah. So if you go in, they will ask you, do you want a Democrat or Republican ballot? Okay. So I would go in order to vote for me, I would have to pick a Republican ballot, right?
Because I'm a Republican candidate.
Correct. Very good. So I would ask for my ballot, and then the choices on the ballot for president, I know Donald Trump, obviously, for Republican. I'm not sure if Bill Weld is even still on. Is he still on the ballot, or did he drop out? Either way, I know who I'm voting for, and I can tell you that it's not Bill Weld. But can you do that for the primary? I don't think you can do it for the primary. I think it's for the general. Anyway, maybe you can. But so you go in, you get the ballot. Now in Indiana, especially in LaPorte County, Porter County, Lake County, we have an electronic system.
Yeah.
Do you remember when I took you into the voting booth a few years ago? You don't remember at all?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
That was a while ago.
I mean, it was a number of years
Wasn't
ago.
it this weird computer looking thing?
It was about 4 years ago, right? It was for the
Chris Wells. You have to say, I want a Republican or a Democrat ballot.
Right. You have to tell them I want a Democrat ballot or I want a Republican ballot. Now, you go in, get your ballot, you go up to the machine, right? And for my position, which is congressman, you have 6 choices on the Republican ballot.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to talk about that.
All right.
So obviously, you know me, right? Yeah. You know more about me than anybody else out there, probably.
Yeah.
I'm just going to name names. I don't have time to look it up alphabetically. Yeah. So one of the guys I'm running against is Spencer Lemons.
Yes.
Okay. We talked about him. You saw actually his picture for the first time when we were looking down through videos earlier.
Oh, yeah.
You were like, who is that? Right. Yeah, he's a fellow redhead.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
even notice that.
Yeah, you didn't see that part? Well, I'll show you later. But yeah, he's a fellow ginger, so he feels your pain, right? He hears all the redhead jokes and all that stuff. But he's a Marine. He's a
Respectable.
he is a Hammond police officer.
Lives in Hobart.
Right, because we started talking about him,
Yeah.
right? He is, I think him and Delano Scaife are roughly the same age, about 30.
Yeah.
I think Spencer just turned 30.
Yeah,
So technically, I don't like that, by the way.
What?
Where you could technically be his father. You remember?
Oh yeah.
Said
Well,
that.
I did say age-wise, right? If I am very early,
like
I could
that.
technically be
Well, yeah.
his father.
I don't like
Because
that.
I'm 16 years older than him.
Don't like it.
But he seems like a good, honest guy that really wants to do his best for the district. And I'd say that applies to almost every one of the Republican candidates,
Well, that's good.
if not all.
No, I think everyone.
I think everybody's honest. I think everybody wants to do the best for the district in their mind, right?
Yeah.
So the next guy is Mont Handley, right?
Yes.
And
Veteran too.
yeah, he's also a veteran. He's from the Army. He was actually a military police officer.
Oh, that's who the military police officer was.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was in the Army.
He was in the Army when it was,
Couldn't be.
yeah, because like now, right? The rules are different. You can be whatever you want to be, you know, gay, straight, whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, like that.
Yeah. Back then, when he joined, it was
You
actually
can't-
against the law.
Oh,
You-
that's the law?
Yeah, you had to find. You had to. There was a form that you had to fill out, right, where you had to certify and attest to the various things that
Yeah.
you're a citizen, that you're this, that you're that.
One of them
And-
was, are you gay or not?
Right. It's are you straight? I think I never joined the service, but for those of you who have, you can attest to how the form was laid out. What I do know, and he has said it, he actually had to be untruthful on that form, and there are real consequences for that.
I can
So he
imagine.
believed so much in serving his country that he was willing to risk jail time. Yeah.
And he joined I want to say in the 80s.
Yeah, I think it was in the
Not
80s.
useful.
Yeah. Because there were many laws that were enacted
Yeah.
later, like don't ask, don't tell, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't matter, right? You can feel however you feel. You can love whoever you want to love. So anyway, he actually invented a thing called pit moss.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah.
It's basically peat moss, but made from cardboard.
Like recycled materials.
Which is like,
yeah, and that
mind-blowing.
blew his mind, right?
And
Where
he's working on another product too.
yeah, he's making
He's working
something
on
else
another
now.
thing?
Yeah, he was actually on. Have you ever heard of Shark Tank?
Plug,
Yeah.
Pit
Yeah, he
Plug
was
or
on.
something.
Yeah,
Moss
like Pit Plug or something like that. He was on Shark Tank, and he actually had.
So my mom watches all.
Yeah, my mom
Yeah.
watches it, right? My mom being his grandmother, right? So he was actually on that show, and he had the investors that said, "Hey, we like this idea. We're going to give you
that's
money."
rare.
Yeah, because
Fair.
most of the people on Shark Tank is like, "Get out of here! You're an idiot." Right?
Yeah.
No, Mark Cuban actually believed in him and
He's a little
invested
harder
with
one
it.
to impress, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah.
So Donovan, when that's as far as we got, and I was like, let's do this online, right?
And I agreed.
Yeah. So he found it really cool that because he's like, do you know him? I'm like, well, I've met him. I've spoken to him.
Has Cuban.
So Dave Irons asked the question, has Cuban endorsed him? No, not to my knowledge. He was on there, the show. Mark Cuban did invest with him, but Mark Cuban has not endorsed anyone as far as I know.
And
Um,
Powers is actually a vet too.
Yeah.
Everybody's
So-
a better.
No, not everybody.
Well,
So going down the list, right? Because we talked about Spencer, we talked about Mont. The next one, Bill Powers, right? So Bill Powers, I actually met. He's like, I want to say like 83 years old. Okay. He joined the Air Force before it was the Air Force. It was called the Army Air Corps.
oh yeah,
Right. When they first had
yeah.
like,
the very first.
yeah, they first had
stages.
warplanes and stuff. Yeah. So that was really, really cool.
Before it was an entire like branch and all that. It was
Right.
just An
Exactly.
extension of the army.
Yeah.
And
So
for some people, being a veteran is
Yeah, for some people, being a veteran is a deal breaker. You have a lot to choose from. You know, if someone's not a veteran, they won't vote for you. You have three, right? Three veterans to choose from in this race on the Republican side. So he has some interesting ideas as far as taxes. One thing that no, Bill Powers does. Yeah, no, it's okay. I talked to him a little bit when we met at the USW, where remember I talked about how the United Steelworkers, the union, was having that little thing where you go in and you introduce yourself, and then they interview you and have all these people seated around you and whatnot. I met him there, right? We were trying to get in touch with him, and
and you just kind of,
hey, look, Dapa's watching.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, hi there.
Yeah, and Michael, good to see you. So he was talking about how he had this plan for a flat tax rate, but it was transaction based, right? To where he was talking about, we'll get rid of all income taxes. Okay, we'll get rid of all other taxes, and it's only going to be if you think something's a transaction, it is a transaction, and it's taxed at 0.1%. And etc. It was a paper, and I read it, and it's interesting. I will tell you that I'm not opposed to looking into it and learning more about it.
We are.
You missed it, but at the beginning, the answer is yes. No matter which way it goes, if I win the primary, if I lose the primary, I'm still going to continue with Dion's Daily Dose. I don't know if it'll be every day. That's something that we're still talking about, but it is something that will continue.
It will continue. Yeah. It'll be there.
But no matter what, I'm going to take a break after the primary, because I want to spend, win or lose, I want to spend time with my family for a couple of days and stuff like that. It worked out very well. Thank you. I appreciate it. So moving on, right? Bill Powers. The one thing I will say about Bill Powers is when I met him at the USW, I had asked him, I'm like, okay, so do you have a website? Because we're trying to get in touch with you, because at the time Chris Wells was organizing the Hobart debate, and his answer was, no, I don't have any website. I don't have a Facebook or social media. Right. It's modern times. Look, I'll be the first to admit that I'm not the best on social media. I've had to ask my son on more than one occasion, hey, how do you do this on Facebook? But it is what it is. You have to get with the times. You have to get with the program.
I'm not a big Facebook person, though.
Right, you're not. I was talking about Orion, but...
Well, I mean, some can be confusing when...
That's true, when there are multiple. That's true. So
there's me, who's with you, and then there's another one. It's
moving on. The other candidate, or one of the other candidates, is Delano Scaife. Okay. Delano is actually also a police officer. Yes. He is a Lake County Sheriff's officer, and he works at the Lake County Jail. Okay. He's a sergeant now. He actually just got a promotion not that long ago. So he is a police sergeant. Yeah, absolutely. He is, he has a family. He's the only one, as far as I know, out of the candidates who actually has children besides myself. I could be wrong on that. I'm not sure about Mark Leyva, which we'll get to in a minute. But he has younger children, right? And he's also, I think, right around 30 years old. He seems like a good guy. He was at the debate. He was one of the only Republicans to answer and get involved in the debate, as you saw. But
I thought there would be more, to be honest.
I mean, here's the part, right? So my understanding, as far as the debate, just real quick, was that Bill Powers didn't know how to use the technology, right? He didn't know how to use Zoom. He didn't know how to use StreamYard. And then he showed up to a Zoom meeting like the very next day or the day before, and I was like, oh, this is the next day, because we had the debate on Thursday. The next day was Friday, and I had a Zoom meeting with St. Timothy's Church. It was like a political roundtable, and there's Bill Powers. I was like, hey man, I thought whatever. So
he figured it out.
Right, he figured it out. Apparently, good for him. So I will restate, everyone there was very, very nice to him. Which I was happy to see. When he talked, you could see faces soften up and just like, oh. So
hi.
We have Delano Scaife, who, interestingly enough, changed parties recently. He actually ran as a Democrat in 2018 as a state representative. So, it is what it is. I will say we welcome everyone. The Republican Party will not discriminate. We welcome you by all means. So the next guy is perennial candidate. That's his actual official title on Ballotpedia. Yes, perennial candidate.
What does that mean?
That means he runs all the time, over and over and over. Okay.
Just like.
Yeah, he has ran against Pete Visclosky. I'm not sure how many times. At least in the last 4 to 6 times he's ran. I think. I know it's a number. It's quite a few.
It's a number.
It's a number of runs.
It's a non-zero number.
It's a non-zero number. Yeah. I don't know how many. I'd have to look it up. But so I actually met him before any of the other candidates. I was going to help other candidates win. I didn't even consider running initially. I was like, who can I get behind? Well, I know this guy. I know the name. I didn't know him personally, but I met him. I talked to him, and I think that for one, he recommended by my brother-in-law, who I trust his judgment. He says he is an honest guy, right? I went to him, I talked to him, and he's an honest guy. One of my pet peeves, right, especially from someone who's going to represent me on a national level, is spelling, right? Spelling and grammar. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. Right. I know you. Yeah, he as well is very, very particular.
I am, but you more so.
You think so? You think I'm more so than you? Okay, fair enough.
Not by much.
You've gotten better though. You've gotten significantly better. Yeah. You used to be very, very particular.
Oh, I was. Mm-hmm. Any little misuse of.
Yeah, of a noun, a verb, misspelling. But anyway, his social media. Yeah, his social media is in all caps. Frequent misspellings.
Oh no, it's in all
stuff.
Caps.
He's a capser. So anyway, I was like, oh man, I don't know. And then I spoke to him about various policies and, hey, what do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And he was very, very, anytime he would talk about something that it seemed to me that he didn't have already planned out, it didn't seem like he had a good grasp on it to me. So
there you go.
Oh, Michelle, you are very, very welcome. I
put that up.
I just wanted to make sure that someone came and showed their appreciation for what all of the veterans have done for all of us. Yeah, Dave makes a very good point. I met a lot of honest guys in DC. Look, again, I think all the Republicans are coming from the heart. Right. I don't think anyone is setting out to deceive anyone on the Republican side. The word honest
is very slowly losing its meaning.
It is. It absolutely is. And I think that it takes more than just being ethical and being honest to effectively represent us in Washington, D.C. Those are good traits, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think they're unique to the people on the right, as far as an individual. I don't think there's only one person on the right that embodies those traits. So we have to look a little further, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got all these choices on the ballot.
Yeah.
Right? What you do is you pick, okay, this is the person that I want to represent me, right? This is the person but it's more than just I'm voting for this guy, okay? Because the election's not over. The primary leads to spot on. He's talking about how a lot of the word honesty has lost its.
Yes.
Remember, there's a delay.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. There's a delay in the chat.
What we say and do, it takes a few seconds, right, to get to you. It's got to go to.
It really does, which is so cool. Come on, that is awesome.
There was a guy who did a comedy skit. I think it was Louis C.K. maybe.
Okay.
That was. Talking about how cell phones, right, and how we've become so impatient, right?
Yeah.
This phone sucks. Dude, calm down. Give it a minute. It's got to go to space, right?
It does, which
To
is cool. Come on.
It really is. It goes to the the tower, right? The tower beams it up, beams back down, goes to the other.
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, it is awesome.
We have to resort to using space to watch cat videos.
Right. That's our society. But
we're watching cat videos from space.
Yeah. So
cool.
You pick who you want, but what you have to understand is not only is there president and Congress people on the ballot, there are also other positions, right? There's your county commissioners, your county treasurers, all these spots.
Yeah.
If they have a challenger, right, then you're going to go and you're going to pick the person that you want to see go into the general.
Yeah.
Okay. Now. Dave says, like plus that. I'm old, takes me a minute to type. Don't feel bad.
I'm a slow typer as well. I am
He is. Now my wife is she's super fast.
She types for a job.
But she's like super quick typer. I'm not so much. Julia, hi, thanks for joining us.
Hello.
So we had we have the ballot, right? You pick the person that you want to represent you in the general election.
Yeah.
But it's more than that. You really have to give it some thought. Not only do you choose the person that you believe in, but you also have to look at it as, does this person, right? Will this person win in the general election? And while there are some people that go into the booth, because there's been talk lately, I'm going to tell you about the chess versus checkers mentality of primary voting. Okay. I advise people go in, vote for who you most believe will represent your interests in Washington and stuff like that. Yeah, I heard about the launch getting canceled from SpaceX. Yeah. Unfortunately, the launch was postponed. That's the last thing I heard about it before I got this set up. Due to bad weather, it was postponed at the last possible moment before launch proceeded. More about that later. But you really have there. So back to chess and checkers, right? There are people that are going in the voting booth, right? That are normally they voted Republican their entire lives, and they're going in, they're asking for a Democrat ballot.
Why isn't that interesting?
Well, why do you think people might do that? In your opinion, before we get into the planning and strategy of it.
People who have voted Republican for multiple years in succession are going in and asking for a Democrat ballot.
Yes.
Why?
Why indeed? Why do you think, using what you know of right now, why do you think someone might do that? Right. But what I'm asking is,
I can't say.
Well, yeah, but just in your opinion, right? What would cause someone to do that?
Like to be pressured to.
They could be, yeah. They might feel, because this is actually really interesting, right? I'm glad you actually mentioned that, because
look at
there are organizations, right? The Indiana has what's called open voter information to a degree. Primary, you can find out how someone voted in the primary. Now, since that you can't find out who they voted for, but you can find out what ticket they pulled. Right? You can find out if they voted Democrat or if they voted Republican. Now, my understanding, and this is a rumor, I have no way to show you evidence of this, but I have been told by multiple people that unions especially will call down and find out if one of their members or a number of their members voted in the Democrat primary versus the Republican primary, right? So I don't agree with that, right? People should be able to vote for who they want. Yeah. It's the one thing that I believe as an American is my duty to my children to go in. I have other duties, right? Yeah. Taking care of my family, all that stuff. But as far as on a national level, it's what I can do for my children and my community. And why should anyone else have access to that information? Even which ticket you pulled, but that's just my belief. So actually the unions would call around, and if you didn't vote on the Democrat ballot, they would be calling you and asking you, hey, why are you voting Republican, or why aren't you voting in the primary, blah 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 blah, because they want you to vote for their guy, right? Now I'm going to give you, I've had some conversations with a number of supporters, and they're like, okay, so we could go in, right? We could go in and we could vote for this person so this other person won't win.
Yeah.
Because they're more.
That's also what I was thinking, kind of a sabotage type.
Right. It's called, split the ticket is what it's called. And you can go in, you can make sure, okay, it's not that you're voting for this guy, right?
It's that you're
voting against the other person, right? And you know what? I'll say this: 2016 presidential election, especially, had a lot of
splitting the ticket.
Yeah, well, it had a lot of people that come out and vote against a particular candidate, right? Whether it's Clinton or Trump, right? Yeah. They came out there like, look, I may not agree with Clinton, but I really don't want Trump to win. Yeah. Or I really don't agree with Trump, but I really want Clinton to win. That's kind of where I was. I've said it before, I will reiterate, I really, really wanted to believe that Donald Trump was going to do all the things that he said he was going to do. But it is what it is. So Michelle has a good question. A few ladies voted Democrat, but since they met you, want to change to Republican. They were told they have to go BMV to change that. Is that right? No. The only way you're determined what party that you vote for is via requesting that ballot. When you go into your voting, whether it's early voting or going in, at the day of, you can get either ballot, whether it's Republican or Democrat.
What county do you get?
Lake County, I believe.
Yeah, Chris said.
Wait, hold on. I might be told something different.
Chris Wells,
yeah. Okay, so Chris Wells, who lives in Hobart, said
early voting.
He went in to do his old early voting.
It doesn't have to be early, but they will ask you for your identification.
Oh, they ask you for your ID, and they will ask you which ballot that you want. Now, I will say this.
Sure?
Yeah, they have to ask, are you sure? Right? They do. But I will tell you, it is well within your rights to not be sidetracked, because even though they're not supposed to tell you, here, you want this ticket, or make sure you vote for this person, it does happen. Report it if it happens. But there are places that you'll go, especially in certain areas, that's all I'll say, where you ask for the ballot and they try to give you the wrong ballot, right? Make sure that you look at what is going on. Make sure you insist.
Which is like the crux of like corrupt.
Yeah, it really is.
Primaries in Lake County, both parties.
Okay, so yes, so my wife I have voted in LaPorte County. I have not voted in Lake County or Porter County. But all you do is you make sure I want Republican if you want Republican, or I want Democrat if you want Democrat. They're going to ask, are you sure? That they have to ask that. They're not questioning you. Some people get very upset. Chris Wells, for example, he's like, I'm an elected Republican official. Of course I want Republican. They have to ask. So, but back to splitting the ticket, right? Of course. Michelle says, thanks for the information. You are very welcome. Any questions you might have? Yeah, that's why I'm here. Kaylor. Yeah, I met her at the VFW when I went to the Memorial Day thing. Yeah, my wife was off to. She knows a lot of Michelle's, so she was asking which Michelle. So
Michelle's could really be like
a lot.
She knows.
Well, she knows quite a few. Okay, we're getting in. So I've been directed by my wife, especially, to make sure I stay on task today, and especially Donovan has a tendency to wander off track.
Usually
him and I together, we can get quite far off the beaten path, but yes, we can. So I have a couple of questions that I jotted down. First, before we go any further, right? I haven't told him what the questions are, and it's not like he's under the spotlight or anything. I just felt it would be a good guide for the conversation.
I totally am under the spotlight.
No, you're not. No, if you can get up and walk away at any time.
I can.
Oh yeah.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, I'll improvise, of course, you know. But
you're good at doing that.
I am.
Just like,
thank you. So what is there anything else about the primary voting that you don't understand?
something extremely mundane that has nothing to do with the actual voting process.
Okay.
What do the booths look like? I probably have a very different image in my mind than what they look like.
Okay. No, that's a good question. It does depend, but we're gonna see if I can pull it up on here, and I can show everyone. Maybe some of you aren't sure yet, but it's a little. Check your Facebook. I was told.
It depends on where you go to vote.
Let me see if I can. Here, hold on. Let me go back. Images. There we go. Okay, so yeah, I've got some pictures. I'm going to share.
Similar to what I thought.
Oh yeah, so Michelle,
exactly.
the cat behind me, his name is PBK. Okay.
Perpetual Black
Cat name.
Yes.
Kitten, but now it's cat with a K because he's
No, it's
big.
Perpetual Big Kahuna now.
What?
Yeah.
You did not inform
I
me
did.
of this change.
I did. I've told you like 4 times. Yeah.
Perpetual Big Kahuna.
Perpetual Big Kahuna. Yeah, he was actually he was the run to the litter. He was so
He
tiny.
was the smallest. Now he's the biggest.
Yeah, but we thought he would stay kind of tiny forever.
Yeah,
and
no.
it did. Yeah, not so
No.
much. He actually got really overweight.
Smaller now.
He's smaller.
Yeah. So here is what the voting booth looks like. This is actually a really
They're
good.
similar to what I thought, but not quite what I thought.
Yeah. So this is if you can see.
Yeah, you hit those buttons to
Right.
select.
Yeah, you got the buttons here. I'll make that
Yeah,
big
I know.
so you
I
can
know
see.
what that. I know what they. Yeah.
Yeah. So you go in, right?
Yeah. You hit
And
those
you tell
buttons,
them,
the thing
and
you-
then it'll pop up on here, and then once you hit it, it'll print out a receipt.
Yeah.
if
I
you
was
want.
mostly wondering about the outside, which I can see plenty in. They're similar, but not
Some that are
quite.
legit. Pull the curtain booth, and then some
Yeah.
are just like a machine with like a cube.
Yeah, there's different kinds. Here's one.
Yeah,
This
that's kind
is-
of what I was thinking. Like,
yeah.
it has
Ours
like
is
a
more-
booth, and then it goes.
Yeah,
over.
ours is more like these, right? To where you
Yeah.
have things
You
around
got
it.
the computer screen in there.
Yeah, it's got
Those
the
are pretty
screen
much
in there.
exactly. Not. Wait, the image before the.
This one here.
No, before that.
This
I don't
one?
mean like.
Here, just tell me. Just point.
Wait, no.
Yeah, just do it.
see
There you go.
There it is.
Okay.
This one.
Is that what you were thinking?
Yes, because it's
Okay.
like the computer screen or whatever in the middle.
Right.
Actually, no, it's on there if I'm right.
Yeah.
But it goes over with the booth down the side. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. So okay, yeah, I was.
Yeah, I would say that this one, this image here, this is like,
Okay, yeah, still
Yeah.
similar.
yeah, very similar. This is probably and for those of you that don't know, because we had the discussion earlier, because one of the candidates running had posted a picture of the booth
Yeah.
that used to be in contention, but it is legal.
What?
Yeah.
You vote, post
You-
a picture of your completed ballot.
Oh.
Well, no, I guess you can.
Oh.
Yeah, so I actually spoke to someone who works for voter registration, and they did confirm that now it is legal. There are no issues. If you wish to take a picture of your ballot or whatever, you may post it. That's perfectly fine.
And Orion votes for
So,
the first time.
Yeah, and my son, 17 years old, he's going to be 18 in time for the general, so he is allowed to vote in the primary. And it will be his first time voting. He is excited. We're excited. You still have a few more years to go, but yeah, that's basically what primary voting is about. You choose your representative for the fight ahead, the big one, right?
Not who you like amongst the four.
Well, it's the person that you believe not only will represent your interest the best, but also has the best chance of actually winning
Yeah.
the seat that
You kind
you
of have
want.
to balance it out.
Right? It is. It's a balancing act, because I've actually seen candidates that I believed wholeheartedly in, but I knew they did not stand a chance
Yeah.
in the general
And
election.
you've said it,
And I've said it. I think they would get crushed, but it is what it is.
I'm hard to tell. I'm going to get along with Michelle.
Yeah, Michelle asked, but will that all change with this virus among us? Is this why they want people to vote by absentee or mail? So
Perhaps.
that's a really good question. And I'm going to tell you that I have my own suspicions about, actually. So during the Zoom meetings, right, one of the Democrat candidates is actually a colonel, right?
Okay.
His name is it's either Antonio or Anthony Daggett, right?
Colonel Daggett.
Yeah, he's a colonel. He has Antonio. I'm not sure. I know his last name's Daggett. I know that for sure. He's very intense, but he says he has top secret clearance, right? He's worked at the Pentagon in the past. And he actually said this was not an accident. These are his words. This is not an accident. China is responsible for this. And if you elect me, I'm going to make them pay. I'm just giving right. He's hardcore. He's got 10 kids. He doubled me, man. I only have 5, but
they're all successes.
They're all successful. He's on it. He's on it. His wife was by his side. He had a projector set up behind him that basically had his military service. Anyway, it was pretty cool. I just got the little board here. I don't have all that, but so there's a lot going on with this virus, right? I will say that I think a lot of this is being exploited, right? We don't have accurate numbers. The CDC has gone from this to this to this. They've changed their mind. Outlets aren't reporting the truth.
Survivability is 97 to 99%. Without a vaccine.
Yeah, the survivability rate anywhere from 97 to 99%. And we had our entire economy shut down. We had all this stuff happen, and it's a very short amount of time, right? Look, the virus is real. We know that, right? But there are very real concerns about the integrity of our elections. I have posted several links where many, many ballots have come up missing. Multiple ballots are being delivered to the same address for mail-in ballots. I personally, I will be voting in person. For those people that are concerned about your health and are afraid to go to the voting booth, especially those of advanced age, those with other health conditions, exercise your right to vote remotely, whether it's by mail-in, whether it's early voting, whether it's absentee. All of these things are options to you. I will say also that LaPorte County, at least early voting, I have talked at length to someone in the voter registration area. I have spoken at length to someone who used to work the polls. LaPorte County is very, very hard to, very, very hard to get over on, as it were, right? A Republican and a Democrat both go over the ballots. They certify them. They lock them in a box, etc. I can't speak for Porter County. I can't speak for Lake County. I have heard a lot of bad things about Lake County and the way that they do it. I do know that Porter County needs poll workers very, very badly. So if you live in Porter County, it will not affect. If you get unemployment, it will not negatively affect that. I was informed that there are Italian studies that are coming out that show it's a bacterium, right? And it can be treated with aspirin and something else. I'm not a doctor. I'm telling you what a study said. You may want to look it up. I'm not sure. I just know that there's a lot more information that's coming out about this, and it's
not a
contrary.
virus.
They're not sure. They're saying virus. They're saying bacterium. There's different.
It's all over the place.
But here's what it comes down to is, it's really important not to just watch CNN or MSNBC or whatever.
Those aren't reliable news sources
and just believe what's on there. Do your research. Look into this stuff. Look at both sides, right? Look at peer-reviewed studies. So Ryan has a question. Thoughts on reopening of colleges come August? Not just colleges, right? Regular, grade schools and high schools as well. We've actually gotten some emails because we do have, children that attend He's going to be going into his freshman year of high school.
Indeed.
My older son is going to become a senior.
And mom are just crying every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
So tell him to go turn that down, please. That's really loud. Thank you. Or pull the door. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So schools are concerned, rightly so.
Indeed.
Yes, Michelle is correct. The flu. That's another thing that we found very interesting with the CDC number is suddenly the flu numbers have vanished.
They have just
They're just gone, right? We normally tracked flu, but that's another thing.
Yeah.
And so,
one more. Indeed.
Yeah, don't just listen.
That's bad idea.
Fauci has changed his mind on multiple occasions. He used to say masks are bad. Now he's saying masks are good. He said, this was bad. Now he's saying this is good. I personally don't trust the man at all. But that's just me. He's also very good friends and has a long history with Bill Gates, who I also do not trust at all.
You gotta admire the man's money, though. He got stacks.
Look, when I was your age, I greatly admired Bill Gates.
I don't admire him. I'm just like,
no, it was because
the sheer amount of wealth.
Bill Gates stole from Steve Jobs and Woz.
Yeah. But anyway, Dave says, according to the charts, right? According to the numbers, nobody's dying from flu or pneumonia all of a sudden, which we know, of course, isn't true. It's a trackable illness. It always goes. But back to Ryan's question. We have received multiple emails and calls from our schools saying, okay, so we're trying to figure out how to deal with this. We'd like to reopen, but there are real concerns of transmissibility and keeping the students safe. One of my family members works at a school. She has talked about at length the steps that would be necessary to keep everyone safe, right? There are many issues there that I think is really hard to confirm, they should do this or no, they shouldn't do that. I can say that I don't envy for the people in charge of the schools right now, because there are some real concerns at things that they would have to do in order to follow the guidelines. Also, there's info that's being put out, right? And look, I get it, Facebook medical, right? But there's info that's being put out that has been changed. It's been altered. For example, there's some talk about any children older than 2 about being forced to wear a mask all day. It's been shown, right? Masks are for short periods when you're close to someone. Wearing a mask for long term reduces oxygen input. And there are children with severe sensory integration disorder, sensory processing disorder. They're not going to be able to wear a mask all day.
I can tell you, I would not wear a mask all day.
Right.
Your ears raw.
Yeah, it rubs your ears raw. So they're going to have to determine whether or not they can open the various campuses, the schools, and be able to fit to the guidelines, because there are children with IEPs that have, issues, whether autism, whether Asperger's, whether social awkwardness, that
also the hard of hearing, they won't be able
the hard of hearing won't be able to read lips. There's so many things that to be considered. That's actually leads me to another question that I had for you, Donovan, and this is, how do you think COVID has affected your 8th grade? First, do you think you've done better than you would have, or not as well as you would have? I know my answer to that question, but I'm curious as to what you think.
Overall, I'd probably say not as well.
Okay. So you think it negatively affected your grade?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your reasoning for that?
Well, for one, it was very sudden. It was like,
that's true.
Now we're doing school and take the bus home. You're not coming back evening time.
Right. That's true.
We had about 2-3 days to gather our stuff and, just kind of deal with it, float or sink type of thing.
Right. Absolutely.
Swim or, sink.
Yes. And there have been many, 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 many children that were doing very well, right? They were on pace. They were good to go. And then all of a sudden this e-learning thing gets dropped on them and
things go bad fast.
Yeah. They didn't know how to adjust. Their grades tanked. A lot of students, not just his age, but all, older, younger, do what they're supposed to do when they're supposed to do it, right? And parents, especially those that are considered essential workers, right? The ones that didn't just get sent home, he's fine. Aren't able to sit there and monitor their child 24/7 to make sure that they're doing this assignment or that assignment. Yeah, put that down and use the putty. So there are a lot of concerns and things that have to be thought about for that. I personally, I'd love to see schools back open. I'd love to see my kids go back to school. Me, myself, I don't think it was the right thing for this entire shutdown across the country for something with such a high survival rate. I'm also a big proponent of freedom and liberty, but I can understand many people's concerns. If you're concerned about yourself, stay home, right? Stay home, get your groceries delivered, all that stuff. I personally would like to see our economy back open and roaring again.
Access to internet.
And that's another thing. A lot of children don't have access to good quality internet.
Yeah, which is something none of the school board official or whatever had even considered.
Yeah, it's like it never crossed their mind.
Literally, one of my teachers, I can't remember who, but one of them said, if you don't have internet, go to a library where they have internet. Like
all the libraries were closed.
Go to a public place.
Right.
Even though the schools are shutting down, everything is closing.
Yeah.
I'll just go to a public place with it.
I do want to touch on, Michelle makes a great point. I talked about this in my video before.
Oh, yeah.
The shutdown is hurting so many places, like American Legions, like the VFW. They can't get small business loans like many places can, right? Your little mom and pop shops, your other places that are supposed to get, loans designed for mom and pop shops and stuff, publicly traded companies. We've talked about that. But Blue Chip here in Michigan City is laying off a bunch of people. There are many places that are hurting. The VFW and American Legion, there are many veterans organizations that need your help. I'm going to run their banner again. Actually, the one in Lake Station, I talked to, they're in rough shape, ladies and gentlemen. Like, they need your help quite badly. If you cannot afford to send them the money directly, they're going to be having events coming up. I don't have my paper right now. I don't know what I did with it. No, I had the paper from them. I had it here. On my previous video, I did talk about it. They're having a rummage sale. Go. When they have fish fries, when they have the things that they're able to have, go to them, support them.
We can support the business.
That's right. And one of the things that I was going to do my video on tonight is shop local, buy local, hire local. Let's see, get caught up on comments. Rich Grammarosa says 2,100 votes actually were found after the polls closed in 2018 commissioner race that gave Democrats a win in LaPorte County. Fair enough. And I will say, I actually was talking about the potential for rigging the machines, right? And that's what I meant before when I said I had quite a bit of faith in LaPorte County's voting system. I personally, even after talking to, I still have this weird feeling about absentee ballots and stuff like that. I said before, there are stacks of ballots that have been found after elections that just vanished. They had a county clerk in Michigan by Detroit that was actually charged with multiple felonies for changing
like
mail-in ballots. There are issues across the country with our voting system. I think voter ID is a necessity. We have to have voter ID for our elections. You have to require an identification to show that you're a citizen, to show that you're registered to vote, to show all these things. It is what it is. There are people that have been voting in multiple elections. They actually had one, I believe, back in, it was in 2016, I think, where a lady actually was here illegally and voted in the election, and she got caught, luckily. But in general, these are things that need to happen. We need voter ID. I'm glad you brought that up, Rich. I actually had, I want to be clear, the machines is what I meant as far as, because when I was questioning, I was like, well, I've heard that these machines are, easily hacked. Ours, I guess, are not connected to the internet in LaPorte County. I don't know about the other counties. Yeah. Chris says if you can stand in line at Walmart, you can stand in line at the ballot box. I believe that as well. If you can go to, yeah, she agrees. She's fine. Yeah. If you can go to Home Depot, if you can go to Family Express, if you can go stand. Did you see Kohl's? Right. Did you guys see the line?
I did not.
At Kohl's the other day? Let me see if I can find it.
Yes. Do that.
Kohl's line.
Why do I keep thinking that it's C with Kohl's?
Outside.
No, I mean like COLES.
No, it's KOHLS.
I know. I don't know why I keep thinking Kohl's is like Kohl's.
Yeah. Okay. No, this is older. Anyway, it was. I don't see it right now. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time trying to look for it, but there was the Kohl's here at, I think it was the one at Lighthouse Mall, wasn't it?
No, well, it was the one in Maryville.
Oh, it was the one in Maryville. I'm sorry. The one at Maryville had a line that actually stretched all the way around the store and outside. And there was no social distancing. They were crammed together. If you can go do that, you can go to the voting booth and vote for the person that you believe in. Yeah, so apparently Ross was the same way. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was Ross.
No, it was Kohl's.
Oh, it was Kohl's as well?
Different
location. Okay. Two different locations.
Either way, it's just...
Whoops.
Yeah. People are ready to go back to...
Yeah, people are ready to go back to life.
Yeah.
Let me see if on the side of the store. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. I found it. Yay. This is the one that I was looking for that I thought was the other. There it is. Okay. So pictures show lines wrapped around buildings as some local stores start to reopen. Look at that. Look at that. This is actually from Pittsburgh, but it is one example. There was one, an article, I believe, in NWI Times or something that was the same thing. Massive lines. You can tell by the pictures that these people are not worried about social distancing or any of that. There are pictures of restaurants that are opening and people are cramming in there. People are ready to get back to life. We're ready. Let's go with this. So back to your questions. All right. So what are your about starting high school, right? Because that's what you're going to be doing, and maybe doing e-learning or hybrid. Do you think it'll be better to do e-learning or maybe hybrid, or better to go back to the way that it was?
I think that it should either be normal or e-learning.
You don't like the idea?
No-go.
Okay, why?
Because it's very back and forth.
Okay.
You can't get into a routine with something. It's task switching, but in a massively scaled up environment.
Right.
You're going from one place, then you're going to another, staying there, and then going, it's just...
Yeah, I could see that. It's
not doable.
So that reminds me, I meant to ask before, Rich, before we got off the subject. As far as the votes that were found, right? Were those the votes that had come in and then because they make a big deal out of this. We have a Republican and a Democrat that both look at it. We compare the signatures, and it goes into this box. Was that all part of that, the absentee, or were these logged votes like at the poll? I'm just curious. I don't know. So you think it'll be better to pick one and not try to ride the line?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So my last question for you, mostly. Well, I got a couple, but my last real question. Okay.
Well, any questions are real.
Yeah. Let's say I win. Okay. Let's say I win the primary, and then I win in November, and I go to Washington. Well, yeah, obviously that's what I want. That's what we want. What?
Just don't get yourself killed out there.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do all that. I will say I won't be intimidated though. They can, but
I'm
here's
just saying.
Okay. Listen.
Yeah.
What do you want me to accomplish in Washington, D.C.? Well, first of all, what's your understanding of the job that I'll be doing? Like, what do you think a representative in the House of Representatives does?
I don't have a very good answer for either of those.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you represent.
Okay.
Like.
True.
What?
You're right. You're absolutely right. That's. Yeah. It's literally in the title.
Yeah. You think, you basically pick and choose what you think the Republicans or Democrats, but what your respective party.
Okay, no, that's actually, you know what? I'm glad you said that, because
you kind of interpret for them.
Well, unfortunately, that's what a lot of these people have ended up doing. They have gone to Washington and they have picked the party's platform. They have said, okay, I'm going to do what the party wants me to do, when their actual job is to do what the people of their district want them to do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm really talking about.
You're fine. You're 14. Yeah.
I just.
Yeah, I am.
So it's district specific.
Yes. So, for example, okay, Indiana has 9 districts that go to Washington, D.C. Okay, so we have 9 members in the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
Okay, you're familiar with the 3 branches of government, right?
Yes.
Legislative, yeah. Okay. You have a representative from District 1 is supposed to go to Washington, D.C. and represent the interests of District 1. They're supposed to vote for and against bills that are put forward. Okay, legislation that goes to the House of Representatives.
That would help District 1.
Right. So, for example, right, let's pick some wild example. My nose is itching. I guess I don't know. I was going to say the old wives' tale about itching nose, but never mind. Yeah, it's. I guess if your nose itches, someone somewhere wants to kiss you. Have you heard that?
I have.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the vanilla orange Coke.
It could be. It could be the fizzy. Yeah. But anyway, so that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to go and vote, yay or nay on bills, right, that are put forth into the Congress. And they have to look at this thing and say, would this be good for my district or bad for my district? Mm-hmm. One thing that I think a lot of representatives should do that don't is, if this affected me, if this directly affected me, how would I feel? Yeah. Would I feel in favor of it or against it, right?
And you always want to feel in favor of it.
Yeah, or vote against it, right? One example of this legislation is, let's say there was a bill put forward that would make black shirts illegal, right? Across the nation.
Why?
There have been crazier things proposed.
You're kidding.
No. Let's just take that as an example, right? You can't wear black shirts, okay? And our representatives would vote, yes, I'm in favor of this, make them illegal, or no, they shouldn't be illegal, okay? What's supposed to happen is you're supposed to listen to the members of your district, your constituents. Yeah. How do you feel about this legislation? And you're supposed to weigh that with what's in the best interests of them. And then you'll get people that are calling your office talking about, if you vote for this, we'll vote for this bill for you. And you have all this,
you basically just
all this politics that go on, right? But unfortunately, in many of these cases, let's say Democrats want those shirts illegal, but Republicans don't, right? But maybe District 1 has had a big rash of people wearing black shirts that have caused problems, right? So the people at the time are very anti-black shirt, right? But you have to weigh the long-term and the short-term benefits of it. You have to have town halls. You have to talk to your constituents. You have to understand their feelings. There are. Another key job that the representative does, right, is to be the liaison or the go-between between their constituents and federal office, okay? Federal offices, agencies. Like, for example, the Social Security Administration, okay? The Veterans Administration.
Yes.
These are all federal agencies that sometimes regular constituents have a problem getting things done. They'll contact these agencies, they'll do everything they can, and they're just not helping me. So they'll pick up the phone and they'll call, let's say I win, right? They'll call my office and they'll be like, hey, we need Dion to make something happen. Right? I have tried to call this agency. I have tried to do everything they told me to do, and they're not helping me. It's my job to put pressure on this agency, to get people on it, to make the calls, to email the email, call, show up. I got no problem showing up at a federal office and being like, yo, this had negative, right? This has to happen. That's the job of representative, right? They're also chosen to serve on various committees and subcommittees. There are committees that are like the House Oversight Committee that make sure everything in the House of Representatives is up to par and people are doing what they're supposed to do. There's budget. There's actually there are a lot of different committees, and the committees themselves can range from accomplishing a lot to accomplishing absolutely nothing. Right. It just depends on the kind of people that you have in it and the kind of people that, whether these people can actually get stuff done or whether they're a stuffed shirt that just, talks and talks and doesn't anything.
They work for you.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. A lot of these people that end up going to Congress or elected officials all across the country forget that they work for you. They forget they work for me, right? They forget that you put them into office, you can remove them from office. I will say this as far as the 1st District goes. We have had a Democrat representative for over 90 years. It has been 90 plus years since a Republican has represented this district in the United States House of Representatives. What you have to ask yourself if you are still thinking about voting Democrat this election is, do you think this is a shining beacon? Do you think District 1 is a shining beacon of the best America has to offer? If not, then maybe it's time for a change. Maybe it's time to consider, let's see what a Republican can get done. Especially, let's look at it this way, right?
Harm in trying.
Right. The worst that can happen is you elect someone who ends up not doing a great job and you get rid of them in 2 years, right? I personally look at it as a win. If we can get this district flipped, we might actually make some real progress, especially if we can get people across the nation that are actually looking out for their constituents. There are a lot, probably more than ever before. There are a lot of just regular people running for office, not lifelong politicians, not people who come from political families or rich families, just average everyday Americans like you and me. Yeah. All across the country, there are people like that are standing up and going, hey, we've had enough, right? We want our government back. We want our country back. There is so much corruption at every level of our government. Our president has started cleaning it, but do you honestly believe, let me ask you this, let's just say, right? Let's say Donald Trump loses in November. All the progress he's made is gone. It's gone. And look, Joe Biden has dementia. I honestly don't think he'll make it till November. I think they'll yank him and put someone else.
That video came out of him confused by the phone.
Yeah, have you seen the video where he's confused by the cell phone?
It's
Yeah.
not
Number one sign of dementia is regular everyday objects just confusing you, right?
I have not seen that video.
Yeah, it's. I'll show it to you when we're done. It's we're at an hour, so we're gonna wrap it up pretty soon. But thanks everybody for coming out. I do appreciate it. I'm going to run the banner one more time for the VFW in Lake Station. Again, VFWs, American Legions, veterans organizations all across the country are in desperate need of help. Any events they have, make sure that you go, even if you're not. Some people don't like fish, right? Go, pay for it, leave, right? They need your help. And don't be one of those people that go to a fish fry and eat like 52 pieces of fish. Let's get real, especially if it's all you can eat. No, he's fine. He doesn't eat that much. But that's where they're at. The one in Lake Station, that's the one that I personally talked to them. They are in very, very deep need of your help, right? Vote. If you want to vote early, fine. If you want to go to the polls on the day of, fine. I'm trying to get more. You might end up going to a location that doesn't have a Dion for Congress sign just yet, but I'm working on it. We're gonna be getting them out. I actually misunderstood. I thought that we couldn't put them out for early voting. I had some people that were delivering signs and something happened, but it is what it is. We're working on it. It's not that I've forgotten you or your location. We're getting them out to you. So thanks everybody for showing up. Jack said night. Again, vote. Make your voice heard. We have the opportunity, like we've never had one before, to show the despicable people that are abusing this country that we've had enough, that it's time for a change, and we believe that we can change it. Because I still believe in that. I still believe that we can change the course of this country, that we can stop what's about to happen.
We can do anything.
And I believe that you have to be in the system to change the system. We can try to change it from the outside all day long by voting and by trying to hold people accountable, and we should. But I believe that within the system is where the changes really happen.
Break it from the inside out.
Right. And that's what Trump started doing, drain the swamp, right? So thanks everybody for hanging out with us tonight and having a good conversation. And we're gonna set up some really good videos. We're gonna be driving around
with a big flag on it.
That's right. Yeah, we have dubbed the official campaign vehicle, which is my GMC Terrain. It's black. It's got a big American flag in the back window with the Second Amendment printed on it. It's got Dion for Congress on it, and I have some signs on the side that look like this. So, yeah, we were going to go to Dairy Bell, but somebody apparently thought it was a good idea to crash into it. And then apparently Dunkin' Donuts too. What the heck, people? What is going on with that street? What is going on with Calumet Avenue? Like, what is going on? It's not. The caption for it was, "What, you think this is Munster Donuts?"
And Munster Donuts is still closed too.
Yeah, and Munster Donuts is still closed. We wanted to get some Munster Donuts while we were out, but we can't do that. So, man. But thank you all for joining me. See you soon, and go vote early or wait till the day of. Up to you. But either way, vote. God bless you, and God bless the USA.
Remember, the birds work for the bourgeoisie.